So let's now talk about inverse function. So when we talk about inverse function, one thing should come in our mind is we are just reversing the function. So if we have f being equal to x goes to y, so the inverse of this should just be basically we are reversing this. So x goes to or y goes to x. Okay, so let's assume that we have um, I'm going just to give you an example, a very simple one. Let's have these two. Then so we have this. So this is, we know that this is x and this is y. So when x goes to y, that's the original function. Okay, then the inverse should now be the opposite. So that is the inverse. So you are now going from y, you are going to x. When you're coming from x going to y, that is a function, that is the original function you have. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to understand here is this. I believe you have come across a question where they ask you to have a to find the inverse, and then you are not able to find the inverse. So such kind of a function, so a function can only have an inverse if that function is one-to-one. So if you only have a function where that is one-to-one function, that is the only function that you can have inverse. Okay, another thing is the domain of the inverse function is the range of the function, and the range of the inverse is the domain of the function. I don't know, but I'm going to explain. What I mean is this: if I give you an example, if we are to solve this question, let's say we have been given f of x being equal to 2 minus x. I divide this by 3x plus 2. Now, how do we find the inverse of this function? To find the inverse of this function, okay, to find the inverse of this function, what I should do is I'm going to replace f of x with y. So this is the same as y is equal to 2 minus x, that. So then you need to make x as a subject of formula. So then I can cross multiply. So if I cross multiply, I'll end up having 3x times y is 3xy plus 2 times y 2y being equal to 1 times 2. I'll end up having that. So we are trying to make x as a subject of formula. So shift x, negative x to the other side is going to be positive x being equal to 2, shift positive 2y to the other side minus 2y. So make x as a subject of formula. So here I'll remain with 3y, then here 1 being equal to that. Divide both sides by 3y plus 1, even here by 3y plus 1. So these will cancel out. So x will be equal to 2 minus 2y, then 3x or 3y plus 1. So then, to conclude this, where there is x, you have to put y. Where there is y, you put x. So then it's going to be y is equal to 2 minus 2x, this divided by 3x plus 1. Therefore, the inverse of f of x is now equal to 2 minus 2x divided by 3x plus 1. So this is the inverse. Okay, another best way on how you can do this, if you don't want, maybe you can have challenges on how to interchange them. So I'm going to put this one here. So the way this function is, okay, the way this function is, we know that this is y is equal to 2 minus x divided by 3x plus 2. Interchange them from here, just direct. Where there is x, put y. Where there is y, put x. So this is going to be x being equal to 2 minus y, then 3y plus 2. So where there is now here you are making y, a function will always be f of x. So f of x is the same as y. So now when you interchange them, after rearranging them, then put where there is x, put y. Where there is y, put x. Then make y as a subject of formula. I'll be able to find the same answer. So we cross multiply. If I cross multiply, I'll have 3xy plus 2x, okay, being equal to 2 minus y. So then I'll say 3xy plus, I'll shift negative y to the other side, so it will be positive. Then 2, I'll shift 2 to 2x to the other side is 2x. So now make x as a subject of make y as a subject of formula. So y will be y open brackets. I'll have 3x plus 1 being equal to 2 minus 2x. Divide both sides by 3x plus 1. Even here 3x plus 1. So y will be equal to 2 minus 2x divided by 3x plus 1. So now this function which you have now, it is the inverse. This is now the inverse. So you just say f of inverse of x is equal to 2 minus 2x divided by 3x plus 1. As you can see, this is basically the same as that. So you choose which method to use. Okay, so let's have another example. Okay, so now I'm not going to talk about the domain here and the range, but I'll come back later. Okay, so let's have another example. Let's say we have y is equal to x plus 2 divided by x minus 2. So we want to find the inverse. If you want, you can make x as a subject of formula, or if you want, again, you can just interchange them. Replace where there is x with y, where there is y with x. So it's going to be x is equal to y plus 2 divided by y minus 2. So then from here you make y as a subject of formula. If you cross multiply, x times y is xy, x times 2 is 2x, then y plus 2. You are making y as a subject of formula if you use this method. So then x, we are making y, so y will be equal to, here we'll have x minus 1 being equal to 2 plus 2x. So you can divide both sides by x minus 1, even here x minus 1. So y is equal to 2 plus 2x divided by x minus 1. So then the inverse of x of this function is 2 plus, okay, 2 plus 2x. I divide this by x minus 1. So this is the answer. Again, if you're not okay with this method, you can still use that other one. It's all right. Okay, so that other one, you know that here you just cross multiply, you make x as a subject of formula. So it will be xy, here you divide by 1, minus 2y being equal to x plus 2. Okay, so xy, shift that x to the other side, so you end up having this. This is plus now 2y. Make x as a subject of formula. This will be divided by y minus 1, y minus 1. These will cancel out. X is equal to 2 plus 2y divided by y minus 1. Okay, so then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say, you interchange them now. So you say y, where there is x, put y. So if you want, you can do it in advance, or then here it will be x minus 1. That's the inverse. So you say therefore the inverse of f of x will be equal to 2 plus 2x divided by x minus 1. That's the inverse. Okay, so now I'm going to be using one method. So let's try this. Try to pause the video and try to solve this one. Okay, try to pause the video, try to solve this question. So after solving it, and then you compare with the answer I'm going to find. So if I cross multiply here, I'll end up having 3xy minus 4y being equal to x plus 1, making y as a subject of formula, or making x as a subject of formula, and then it's going to be 3xy minus x. I've shifted this x to the other side, should be equal to 1 plus 4y. So I want to make x as a subject of formula. I'll remain with this, okay, minus 1 being equal to 1 plus 4y divided by 3y minus 1, 3y minus 1. So these two cancel out, therefore y is equal to 1 plus 4y. I divide that by 3y minus 1. So therefore f of x, so you now interchange them. So this is x, sorry. You now interchange them. Where there is x, put y. So this f of x is same as y. I've put y there. Where there is y, put x. So 1 plus 4x divided by 3x minus 1. That is the inverse. Okay. So now try to compare with the answer you have found. Let's now do the last one. So let's say we have f of x being equal to 5 divided by 3 minus 2x. How can you find the inverse of this? So as usual, try to pause the video, try to solve it, and then see how I'm going to solve it. So this will be y is equal to 5, 3 minus 2x. At this point, you can now cross multiply and make x as a subject of formula. So if I cross multiply, it will be 3y minus 2 yx, or xy if you want, being equal to 5. So you shift this to the other side, and then, or shift this to the other side, so that it should be 3y, then shift 5, it will be like that. Then shift negative 2yx to be positive xy, like that. Okay, so we are making x as a subject of formula. Divide both sides by 2y, here 2y. So these will cancel out. So x will be equal to 3y minus 5 divided by 2y. So now from here you will just interchange them. Where there is x, put y. Where there is y, put x, like that. When you reach at this point, then you just say the inverse of f of x is equal to 3x minus 5 divided by 2x. So this is the inverse. So if you want, you can try to compare with the answer I found here. So this is the basic idea behind inverse function. But I'm not going to talk about the domain and range, but I'll come back and talk about the domain and range under composite or under ration function. Okay.